Hello, my name is Beata Heuman and this is How I Live with Style. I'm an interior designer and product designer based in London, but I grew up in the south of Sweden, in the countryside here on the farm. We now have a house here that I use with my family on holidays. The house itself is from the late 1700s. Some previous tenants wanted a more modern kitchen, so I think my dad agreed to putting some IKEA cabinets along the bottom and took out the original cupboards, which really bothered me, and we then sort of tried to reinstate the bottom bit to look more like the top bit, which is kind of funkis style, as it's called in Swedish, where you actually see a bit of a frame of the joinery around each door. My parents' house is right next door and my sister's house is opposite, so in a way the house is quite exposed and people are coming in all the time. One really nice piece in this kitchen is this amazing coffee machine that's been imported from Italy that my father gave us as a Christmas present. But really, I think it's just because he wants to come in and have nice coffee with us, which he does a lot. I mean, in general, I don't like ripping things out. I like to keep what's here, and all the finishes were really lovely. The floors in the rest of the house were installed in the 60s, and I've actually decided to keep them. But just here in the kitchen, I wanted to brighten things up a little bit. And the reason why I went for this checkered pattern is because in the bathroom that's opposite, that you see through the door, we also have a checkered floor, so it kind of bookends the floor that we installed in the bathroom. When I grew up, there was a family living here that had a son who was my age in my class called James O'Connor. So I have all these memories sitting here in the kitchen with him eating. And the table itself is actually something I spent a lot of time tracking down. It's called Bundvad, and it was designed by the Swedish design prince Søgaard Bernadotte. I really like this kind of pattern on top of it in particular in the room, and it's quite retro and sort of Scandinavian 1950s style. So let's go through to the dining room. So this is the dining room. In a way, I've been quite restrained throughout the house in terms of wall colors, and I felt the house could really take something with a lot of like depth and drama. I worked with a British company, to create this wallpaper, which has been hand painted, completely bespoke for this room. I also love doing big breakfasts in here. I'm quite a big baker. I do cinnamon buns and I do just little pancakes for the children. I asked my mother, who's very into gardening, to write me a long list of all her favorite flowers. And that's basically what's been depicted here. Flowering it all at once, which of course they don't do in reality, but it's this kind of scene of eternal summer in here, which is lovely. This is snowdrops that grow around here, and that actually also inspired the pendant that I have in this room, which is our snowdrop rise and fall. This here is a Caucasian wingnut, which actually my parents planted on the occasion of our wedding for us. We got married here on the farm. We had a big crayfish party up in one of the barns and like a big party afterwards. This was just a kind of boxed out step, which we thought had something to do with the cooker on the other side. And then we stripped the walls back. We actually found this opening and realized that there had been a fireplace behind here. We then added these tiles, which is actually something I had left over from a project, and they're all hand painted in England, depicting different animals, sea creatures and stuff like that. We kind of made it look like an old-fashioned Swedish kakelugn, and this was just kind of concrete painted white. And then my parents surprised me with having a specialist painter doing this little detail around the edge, which is quite sweet. Let's go through to the living room. I designed the sofa for the space. I was watching The Crown and there's a really beautiful sofa fabric there, which I thought was from this company, Søgaard, and I contacted them and it actually was. Above the doors, I put these two mirrors that sit opposite each other, which is also part of our collection. We developed this special mirror glass, it's sort of silvered hand-drawn glass, which basically means that the reflection is kind of a bit broken, which just gives this quite sort of poetic, dreamlike atmosphere to the room. I grew up here on the farm. In a way, it was like relatively isolating. I had 3 siblings, but I spent quite a lot of time on my own. So I did had to kind of entertain myself. I did a lot of reading, a lot of drawing, and a lot of playing here, which I think really has formed the basis of my kind of my creativity. Yeah, I was always thinking up stories and going into the sort of different worlds in my imagination. And I think that's really affected how I work now, actually. And it's been really special being able to bring my little girls here now and sort of showing that to them too, and seeing them, you know, running around in the forests around the same trees that I know so well is really special. That's kind of one of the best things about being here, I think. In terms of colours for the house, for the woodwork, I've used sort of greeny grey colour throughout. But actually in this specific room only, I wanted this kind of quite bright red, rusty coloured for the woodwork in here as a contrast. And you also have the more kind of buttery walls and a sky blue ceiling. We actually mix all the paints here on the farm. This is all linseed oil paint for the woodwork. And I didn't actually realise, but at the time when I decided on this colour, but it's pretty similar to what's used on all the woodwork on the external windows for the houses outside. It's kind of a quite neat connection. So now we're going into the bedroom. And the main thing here is probably this bed. I designed the fabric willow for this specific room. I kind of wanted to feel like sleeping in a big sugar bowl. Lately, the girls are playing a lot under the bed, so they have like a whole little den for themselves under there, and they spend a lot of time there. But what I really wanted to show you was the bathroom. What's quite sort of special about this space, and actually the whole house, is that you get this strong sight lines through the house. So, you know, from the kitchen and the central hallway, you look straight up into this bathroom, and I often keep the door open because I like seeing sort of the windows on the other side. So I wanted this room to look quite decorated and as if, you know, not necessarily very bathroom-like, which is why I decided to put this wallpaper up, which is one of our designs. It's called Florentine Flowers. I also really love this towel rail, which my father made with Bengt, who works here on the farm, just using copper pipes and these brass supports. My little addition are the brass lion paw feet at the bottom. This big picture above the door gives a similar effect as what we have in the living room with the mirrors, and it sort of draws the eye up. And the picture itself is from Naples, early 1800s, I think, and I got it from a sale of a house that I designed 20 years ago when I worked for Nicky Haslam's. This is the hall, you know, that kind of connects all the rooms, and it's also where the staircase going upstairs goes from. The walls are completely covered in my husband's Uncle Matty's drawings. There were like loads of books like this that he did. He painted it like so beautifully and delicately. I really love that he could sort of be a part of this house. So thank you, Uncle Matty. This is just a big basket of walnuts. There's loads of them on the farm. I mean, there's like 5 more baskets just like this, and it's filled all the way down. And like there's more to come, so I'm not sure what we're going to do with them all, but yeah, we sort of eat them and cook with them and do different things. Also quite like it as a, you know, object in an interior. Anyway, let's go upstairs. This is my old doll's house, which I had when I was a little girl, which my father made for me. He even sent off the red paint on the windows so that these windows could be painted in the same color. And I just spent hours and hours playing with this and doing it up and rearranging and making things. I mean, this is a Swedish stove that I mean, it's not very well executed, but I made it out of a loo roll. Made little sort of napkin rings, taking like bits off biro pens and making it into a napkin ring. And yeah, I had, these are even some like old like Swedish Christmas buns that I baked like 35 years ago or whatever. Still going strong. I'm very excited about doing it up. I think I need some wallpaper. I just installed this flooring here, looking a lot better. So yeah, I'm quite excited about this project. Mama! Ja, nej. This is Alma, who's 4.5, and then this is Gali, who's 6. Do you guys like coming here?
Yes.
I've made this little sofa for Galian armor for the room, and above it is a painting by my older sister Ebba, Ballestra di Mottola, which is called Sisters. And she hasn't said that it's of the two of us, but I kind of feel like it looks a little bit like me and her, or in my head it does anyway. So I thought it was kind of perfect to put in Galian Arma's bedroom. The wallpaper in this room is also something I designed, and it's made by Degorni, and it's actually hand embroidered, so it's kind of sticks out a little bit. It's almost like you can pick the flowers off the paper. I really thought about the scale of it. I wanted it to be a little bit bigger than what you might expect, almost as if it was sort of in a doll's house, and the scale is a bit off and not quite right, which I think kind of instills that sense of childlike wonder, which I'm always quite interested in. I guess for this room, I kind of thought about everything I wanted when I was a little girl. Also, we're heavily inspired by Mary Poppins and the Banks children's bedroom. That kind of, I don't know, sort of perfect idea of a child's bedroom, which is what I tried to recreate here. I hope you've enjoyed this tour, and don't forget to subscribe to the Sunday Times Style YouTube channel. Hej då!